The first light of dawn stretched across the Texas sky, melting away the last shadows of night as golden beams spilled over the hills. The ranch breathed in the silence, each blade of grass glazed with dew, every branch still in reverence to the rising sun. The lake lay, still and silver, untouched, as if time itself paused to admire its reflection. I stepped onto the wide wooden porch, coffee in hand, the scent of dark roast mixing with the aroma of damp earth and pine. In the distance, framed by the blue morning haze, I spotted her, Ella, perched on the dock in that quiet, meditative way only she could manage. She wore her usual gray hoodie, sleeves pushed up just enough to show the fading scar that ran along her forearm. One leg dangled gently over the edge, toes brushing the lake's surface. She looked like a woman with no past, but I knew better. She had found peace here, not just in the serenity of the land, but in its silence. After years of shadows and whispered secrets, this was her sanctuary. This lake, this dock, this unassuming ranchette was more than property. It was her redemption. And I knew, with the certainty of a man who's seen too much change, that peace like this doesn't last. Not when the world has a way of dragging old ghosts through your gates. Elle didn't react like most would. As Karen's shrill accusations echoed across the water, Elle didn't flinch. She didn't rise, didn't shout back, didn't even frown. Instead, she turned one slow page in her weathered paperback and took a sip from her thermos, the wind gently lifting strands of her auburn hair. Karen huffed. "Did she hear me?" "She's being willfully defiant." "She heard you," I replied, watching my wife with admiration. "She's just choosing grace." "She's ignoring me." "She's reading," I said, resisting the urge to smile. Finally, Elle removed her sunglasses and looked up, her ice-cold steel with a hint of patience locked onto Karen. No words, no expressions. Just that stare. For 5 long seconds, silence reigned. And then she put her sunglasses back on, turned another page, and went back to her book. Karen shifted uncomfortably. The shift in power was immediate, undeniable. "You think this is over?" she snarled. "You've messed with the wrong O." Without looking up, Elle said evenly, "No, Karen, you did." HOA War Unleashed. Section 1. The First Strike. 3 days after Elle's quiet warning in the fire pit incident, the HOA struck back. It began subtly. One morning, the mail truck didn't come. Then our water pressure mysteriously dropped by half. The local hardware store refused to deliver supplies we'd already paid for. It felt coordinated. Too many coincidences stacked up too quickly. Karen was pulling strings, and those strings ran deep into the small-town web of favors and alliances. Elle noticed it before I did. "They're isolating us," she said, staring out at the now strangely silent lake, "trying to put pressure on our daily life." "It's harassment," I said. She nodded. "Organized harassment." And so we fought back. Not with threats, with preparation. Section 2. Mapping the enemy. Elle converted our living room into a war room. Maps, copies of property records, old case files, and her personal Rolodex of federal contacts spread across the dining table. We started mapping the entire HOA hierarchy, who they were, their real estate holdings, their known political ties. Karen wasn't just a loud voice in a blouse, she had a network. "She's trying to model herself after those predatory developer HOAs that swallow up land and push out the locals," Elle said. I stared at a list she'd compiled. "You think she's after the lake?" "She's after power. The lake is leverage." Section 3. The spy in our midst. That evening, our neighbor Darren came by with a bottle of wine and fake smiles. He asked too many questions about our land, our plans, our water usage. Elle saw through him instantly. After he left, she said, "He's reporting back." "To Karen?" Elle nodded, probably promised a seat on her future HOA board. We changed our routines. I installed motion sensors. Elle, meanwhile, made a call to someone in D.C. I'd never heard her mention before. Who was that? I asked when she hung up. An old friend in counterintelligence, she said. Time to play chess. Section 4. Legal Blitz. Karen filed a stack of legal documents claims of code violations, zoning violations, and something absurd about Elle intimidating an elected HOA officer. Elle responded with her own. A cease and desist. A civil harassment complaint and a formal inquiry into Karen's personal finances. She has shell companies, Elle muttered. She's laundering through the HOA. How do you know? I taught the FBI agents who catch this stuff, she said. Section 5. The Media Storm. Somehow, word got out. A local reporter sniffed around. Then a blogger published a piece. The HOA Queen versus the former FBI agent. The following morning, Karen returned. This time, she brought reinforcements, 2 men in polo shirts, carrying clipboards, and the same smug expressions. Their arrival was announced by the familiar squeal of tires on gravel. Elle stayed on the dock, unmoved. Karen stepped out, her voice already at full volume. Good morning. As the acting chairwoman of the Timber Falls Homeowners Association, I've come with official documentation. I stepped off the porch, already tired. You're trespassing. Again. This entire area, she said, spreading her arms as if unveiling a kingdom, has been reclassified. This lake is now part of the Timber Falls protected community. You're standing on my lawn. On my land, I reminded her. We're not in your community. One of the clipboard guys piped up. There's a motion being filed to retroactively incorporate this parcel. I laughed. You can't annex private land without due process. Karen raised her hand, silencing the man. Sir, you and your wife have a choice. Cooperate with HOA guidelines or face escalating fines and enforcement. We are prepared to file property liens. I'd like to see that happen, I said. We'll fight it, every inch. Elle stood now, calmly, slowly. She walked up the hill with grace, like someone who'd walked into hostile territory more than once. She reached Karen, looked her in the eyes, and said, Try it. Karen blinked. For a moment, silence fell. Then Karen snapped, You'll regret defying us. Elle didn't flinch. People who say that usually do. Section 6. Neighbors' Reactions. By the end of the week, rumors had spread. A few neighbors from adjoining land-scattered ranchers and lake homeowners dropped by, curious. Some were concerned. Others seemed amused. Old Mrs. Hampton from the East Ridge brought over peach cobbler and whispered, Karen tried this with me last year. Claimed my chicken coop violated sightline regulations. What did you do? I asked. Put a scarecrow in a suit outside her house. She winked. Named him Chairman Cluck. We laughed, but not everyone took it so lightly. Tom Devlin, who owned the fishing pier downshore, was furious. If they absorb this land into HOA control, we'll lose all lake rights, he said. No more night fishing, no bonfires, no cattle grazing. Elle nodded. Let them come. We'll handle it. You sound confident, Tom said. I've dealt with more dangerous people than clipboard tyrants. He gave her a look. Who are you? She's my wife, I said. Section 7. Karen threatens to call the cops. Another Saturday, another drama. Karen showed up again, this time recording everything on her phone. You are officially being documented for obstruction, she said. You're interfering with community inspections. There's no community here, I shot back. Then let the sheriff decide, she barked. She made the call on speaker, describing a false narrative. An aggressive couple, possibly armed, refusing lawful inspection. Elle stepped closer. You're lying. On a police call. Karen smirked. Your word against mine. Elle pulled out her own phone. Actually, I'm recording too. And I have 10 years of contacts inside the bureau. Want to see who gets believed? Karen's expression faltered. Section 8. Private talk between me and my wife. That evening, As the sun dipped below the ridge, casting long shadows across the lake, Elle and I sat on the porch. "I hate this," I said. "She's turning our peace into a battlefield." Elle nodded slowly. "She doesn't know who she's dealing with, but she will. I know you didn't want to be that person anymore." She looked at me, pain flickering behind her calm gaze. "I left that world for a reason. But sometimes, to protect peace, you have to go to war." Section 9. Karen returns with an officer. The next morning, the sheriff's cruiser pulled up the drive. Karen was right behind him, grinning like a cat who'd brought the law to heel. The officer stepped out, tall and broad-shouldered, tapping a notepad. "Got a report of trespassing and threats." Karen pointed dramatically. "That woman, she's dangerous." Elle rose slowly, approached the officer, and calmly said, "Good morning. Badge number?" He gave it. She nodded. "You served with Deputy Mills in Fort Bend, right?" He blinked. "Yeah, how'd you?" "I trained him at Quantico. My name is Elle McKenna. I used to run field ops for the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit." The officer turned pale. "You're her?" Karen stepped back. "What's happening?" "You brought the law," Elle said calmly. "Now abide by it." Section 10. Tense exchange at the lake. Later that afternoon, Elle and I walked down to the dock. Karen, now red-faced and clearly rattled, followed but kept her distance. "I won't stop," she said. "You should," Elle replied. "You're playing a game where the rules don't favor you." Karen looked from Elle to me. "She's bluffing. She has to be." "Want to find out?" Elle said. "Keep pushing." Within 48 hours, we had news vans parked near the highway turnoff. Karen went ballistic. "She doesn't want attention," Elle said. "Predators prefer shadows." Karen tried to discredit Elle, accusing her of making false claims. But Elle released just enough classified adjacent information to shut that down cold. Section 6. The Town Hall Trap. Karen scheduled a public HOA meeting on neutral ground at the local high school. She intended to frame us publicly as the villains. We came prepared. Elle brought evidence: financial charts, drone footage of HOA employees trespassing, a recording of Karen threatening a disabled veteran downshore. Elle played it all. The crowd turned, murmurs grew. Faces that once avoided our eyes now nodded in sympathy. Section 7. Karen's meltdown. Cornered in front of the crowd, Karen snapped. She screamed that Elle was manipulating everyone. She hurled accusations, called Elle a fraud. Elle stayed calm. "I spent 20 years dismantling organizations that thought they were above the law," Elle said, voice low but firm. "You're not special." Karen was escorted out, red-faced and trembling. Section 8. Retaliation in the dark. That night, someone cut our power line. Elle was already outside, flashlight in hand, inspecting the perimeter. "She's getting desperate," I said. "She's escalating," Elle corrected. "That's different." We spent the night in shifts, rifle by the window, phone in hand. Section 9. Reinforcements arrive. 2 days later, a black SUV rolled onto our land. Out stepped 2 former colleagues of Elle's who called her boss. "I made a few calls," she said. "They helped us secure the property, trace Karen's digital trail, and install surveillance drones. She won't see us coming," one of them muttered. Section 10. The final blow, unveiling the truth. Elle stood at the county board meeting with evidence: shell corporations, bribes, extortion, threats, everything. Karen was arrested that evening. The HOA board dissolved. And the lake? Declared private, indefinitely, under protective status tied to Elle's federal background. That night, we sat on the dock again. "What now?" I asked. Elle leaned back, watching the stars. "Now, we breathe." He, morning after the fall. The silence was different now. Not the gentle stillness of nature, but the aftermath of a storm. The day after Karen's arrest, the neighborhood was eerily quiet. No lawnmowers, no gossip, no HOA patrols creeping past our gates. The people of Timber Falls, those who once backed Karen's every move, were suddenly nowhere to be found. Their fear wasn't just about the law. It was about who Elle really was and what else she might be capable of. I poured coffee as Elle stood on the dock, arms crossed, scanning the water like she expected more trouble to rise from it. The woman who had dismantled empires with a voice as steady as stone now stood still, as though bracing for something worse than Karen. "Feels too quiet," I muttered. She nodded. "Quiet means they're thinking." Section 2. The Shattered Alliance. By the third day, Timber Falls was imploding. Karen's arrest set off a domino effect. Other board members resigned. Some fled. One was even found shredding documents in his garage. Elle and I watched as town hall meetings turned into shouting matches. The ones who once turned a blind eye now pointed fingers. They blamed each other for trusting Karen. Some accused her of blackmail. Others confessed to bribery. The town's social media pages were a battlefield. Posts were deleted. Threats exchanged. A split formed. Those who wanted to reform the HOA and those who wanted to burn it to the ground. Section 3. A knock at the door. It was late afternoon when the knock came. Not the pounding of law enforcement or the rattle of angry neighbors, just a polite, firm tap. Elle opened it. A young woman stood there, nervous, dressed in jeans and a Timber Falls Fire Department hoodie. "My name's Lacey," she said. "Karen blackmailed my dad. He was HOA treasurer. He did things he wasn't proud of, and now he's sick over it." Elle stepped aside. "Come in." That night, Lacey told us everything. Where the money came from, how it was laundered, where the records were hidden. Elle took notes like she was back in an FBI field briefing. Section 4. The Federal Heat. Elle called an old contact in the Department of Justice. Within a week, subpoenas were flying. Investigators swarmed Timber Falls. News helicopters hovered overhead. Karen's case cracked open a web of fraud that extended far beyond our lake. There were other communities, other HOAs, other Karens. Elle briefed the agents herself. She walked them through the financials, helped decode the HOA shell structure. The lead agent looked at her like she was some kind of legend. "You ever think of coming back?" he asked. Elle smiled, just barely. "Not unless I have to." Section 5. Redemption and Resentment. But not everyone was grateful. Some residents still blamed us for drawing attention, for destroying their illusion of peace. A few even vandalized our mailbox. We found threatening notes, anonymous calls. "You think you're heroes," one voicemail hissed. "You just blew up our lives." Elle played them all for the feds. They traced the numbers. Arrests followed. Still, the damage was done. Even those who said thank you did so with averted eyes. Section 6. The Journalist's Offer. The same reporter who'd broken the original story returned with a proposal, a documentary. Elle turned him down flat. "I'm not doing this for clicks," she said. But he pressed. "People deserve to know how deep this corruption runs. Your story could protect others." She considered it longer than I expected. "Maybe," she said finally, "but on my terms." Section 7. A New Purpose. With the lake now protected and the HOA disbanded, Elle didn't return to rest. Instead, she started building something, a nonprofit watchdog group. She named it Civic Watch. Volunteers came, lawyers, whistleblowers, victims of corrupt boards from other states. The quiet life was gone, but in its place, Elle had found purpose. "She's back," one of her old agents joked when they visited. "And more dangerous than ever." She just smiled, only to the people who deserve it. Section 8. The Visit from Karen's Lawyer. 6 weeks after the arrest, a black car rolled up our gravel path. Out stepped a thin man with a briefcase. He introduced himself as Karen's lawyer. "She wants to talk," he said. Elle crossed her arms. "Through you? Number in person. She must be desperate." The lawyer didn't blink. "She says it's about something bigger than both of you." Elle exchanged a glance with me, then nodded. "Set it up." One meeting. Section 9. prison walls, and old truths. At the county detention center, Karen looked different, hollow, paler, but her eyes still burned. She leaned in. I was never the top. There's someone else, someone who built this system. I was just a piece. Elle's face didn't move. Name. Karen hesitated. He's not from here, but he's coming. What we had in Timber Faucet was a test run. Silence fell heavy. Elle stood. Then I'll be ready. Section 10. Shadows on the Horizon. That night, back on the dock, the stars seemed dimmer. You believe her? I asked. I don't trust her, Elle said. But I don't ignore warnings. We sat there a long time, listening to the frogs, the crickets, and the wind across the water. Then Elle whispered, more to herself than to me. Round one's over. Now we see who's really pulling the strings. Section 1. Uneasy Calm. The days following Karen's revelation crawled by, thick with tension. Elle began waking before sunrise again. Not for peace this time, but out of instinct. The lake, which once brought her stillness, now seemed to whisper unease. She paced the property lines, watching the tree line more than the water. I watched her from the kitchen window one morning, coffee in hand. She wasn't just waiting, she was calculating. I know that look, I said when she came inside. You used to wear it before a bust. Elle gave me a tired half smile. This one's going to be different. Section 2. The Man from the Shadows. 2 weeks later, he arrived. Not with fanfare or flashing lights. Number. Just a silver Range Rover with out-of-state plates and windows, too dark for a small town. He checked into the Timber Falls Inn, paid in cash, used an alias. But Elle had eyes everywhere now. Her people flagged him within an hour. Name's Vincent Lang, she told me that night. Used to be Langston. Was implicated in a corruption scandal in Nevada. Charges vanished. What does he want? She frowned. Power. Same as Karen, but smarter. Section 3. The First Encounter. Lang didn't approach us immediately. Instead, he hosted a recovery brunch for Timber Falls residents. Smooth talk, clean suits, promises of rebuilding trust. Elle and I showed up uninvited. The moment she stepped into the room, Lang noticed. Elle McKenna, he greeted, as if meeting an old friend. I've read about you. Then you know I don't like snakes, she replied. Laughter rippled. Nervous. Lang only smiled. This town needs leadership, he said. You exposed corruption. I want to fund the cure. Elle's eyes didn't blink. You're the infection. Section 4. The Offer. Lang came to our ranch 3 days later. You're wasting your potential, he told Elle over whiskey on the porch. Join me. Help me fix the HOA model. You'd make millions. I'm not for sale, Elle said. Lang leaned forward. Everyone has a price. Even patriots. She stared him down. Then you haven't met the right kind of patriot. Section 5. The Network Awakens. After Lang's visit, strange things happened again. Emails vanished. Websites mentioning Civic Watch were flagged for review. Surveillance drones caught unfamiliar vehicles circling the ranch at night. Section 1. The Night Before. The world braced. Across cities and countrysides, whispers of Dominion's final move spread like static. Banks quietly closed. Satellites shifted orbit. Communications darkened across 5 continents. At the heart of it, Elle sat in silence. She knew the storm would come not just to silence her, but to erase everything she had exposed. She pulled out her field notes, wrote 3 words across the last page. Let them see. Section 2. Blackout Protocol. At 4:06 a.m., the lights went out. Not just the grid, entire digital ecosystems went dark. Websites vanished. Financial networks collapsed. Cloud servers blinked out of memory. Dominion's purge had begun. But Elle was already ahead. Ghost signal kicked in broadcasting from hardwired transmitters, buried in bunkers, mountains, even repurposed cargo ships. The ark began to open. Section 3. The betrayal that wasn't. Lang appeared again, only this time not to gloat. He warned her. They're activating Phoenix Protocol. You're not just the target, you're the example. Elle stared at him through the encrypted feed. Why help me? He sighed. I built a system to contain chaos. Dominion feeds on it. I lost control. She didn't thank him, but she didn't close the connection either. Section 4. The strike. Drones darkened the skies above a Civic Watch relay point in northern Norway. A satellite beam scorched a vault in Sri Lanka. Armed proxies raided an archive in rural Canada. Each time, the data reappeared elsewhere. Shared, copied, backed up 1,000-fold. They can destroy the house, Elle said. But the fire is in the walls now. Section 5. The countdown. Dominion issued a final ultimatum. Cease all transmissions. Surrender El McKenna, or lose the power grid of the eastern United States. Elle responded live. Number. And then she triggered the failsafe. Section 6. The Revelation Cascade. In 38 languages, across over 100,000 local stations, projectors, ham radios, even city billboards, Trigger X unlocked the full record of Dominion. Everything. The footage, the money trails, the psychological programs, the elected puppets, the false wars, the buried dead. People screamed, people marched. Some didn't believe it, some already knew, but none could unsee it. Section 7. The Return of the People. It wasn't riots that followed. It was truth. Whistleblowers flooded newsrooms. Retired agents turned themselves in. Local communities overthrew HOA boards tied to Dominion cells. A general refused deployment. A judge struck down 300 Dominion-aligned laws. It was messy. It was raw. It was real. Section 8. The cost. Elle paid dearly. She lost 3 team members in the final purge. Her face was added to every blacklist. Her name was censored on major platforms. But when asked if she regretted it, she said only, I regret I didn't start sooner. Section 9. The Last Broadcast. From an undisclosed bunker in the Sierra Nevadas, Elle went live one last time. Her hair was shorter, her face thinner, but her eyes burned brighter than ever. Dominion wanted obedience, she said. I gave them resistance. You have a choice now. Stay silent, or speak, watch, or act, hope, or build. She paused. I may disappear after this, but not the truth. It lives in you now. Section 10. Afterlight. Weeks passed. The world changed not all at once, but enough. Laws shifted. Faces faded. Dominion fractured. But the shadow never fully vanished. In a remote part of Montana, a woman walked through morning mist toward a silent lake. She wore no badge, carried no weapon. But when she looked into the still waters, she saw the reflection of 1,000 voices behind her. And she smiled. Section 1. No more silence. The Trigger X file changed everything. Within hours of publication, global panic rippled through governments, media outlets, and corporate boardrooms. The 10 names on the list half disappeared. 2 went underground. 1 died in a staged car crash. Elle's name stayed highlighted at the top. Now they know I won't hide, she said. Let's see if they'll come out of their caves. Section 2. Dominion's First Strike. Elle's systems detected a new wave of cyber attacks unlike anything they'd seen. Rootkits evolved in real time. Implants that rewrote firmware. Deepfakes of Elle began circulating, claiming she'd joined the Dominion. This isn't disinformation, Jade, her hacker, whispered. It's identity warfare. The public became confused, divided. Elle's once solid base of support cracked. They want chaos, Elle said. Doubt is their doctrine. Section 3. The cut signal. Then, communications across Civic Watch channels abruptly died. Satellites rerouted, cables severed. The team reverted to analog. Radio bursts. Couriers. Printed dossiers. L issued new protocols. Total decentralization. If they can isolate me, they can erase me. That ends today. Section 4. The Contact. An unexpected transmission arrived via shortwave. A voice modulated through static. We know Dominion. We were inside. We want out. Elle traced the source to Greenland. She dispatched a scout team with diplomatic immunity and a black box recorder. Only one returned. They're beyond anything we've seen, he gasped. It's not just control, it's replacement. They mimic people, replace history, rewrite the chain of truth. Section 5. The Crisis of Faith. Supporters turned on Elle. Lawmakers withdrew. The congresswoman who once stood by her was arrested on fabricated charges. For the first time, Elle wavered. We may have lost the message, she said. No, I told her. They're just screaming louder because your truth is still echoing. Section 6. Eyes of the Machine. Jade revealed the Dominion was operating something called E-Spire, a global surveillance mesh integrated through IoT devices, phones, and security networks. It didn't just observe, it predicted, nudged, rewired behavior. It's running us, she said. The illusion of choice. Elle stared at the projection. Then we burn it all. Section 7. The Counter-Narrative. Elle launched a shadow network ghost signal. Unbranded, anonymous broadcasts that exposed Dominion's methods without referencing Civic Watch or her identity. The public began tuning in. Some called it conspiracy. Others called it prophecy. But belief started returning. Section 8. The Return of Lang. Lang reappeared. Not in person, but in a real-time debate against Elle streamed to 40 million people. No moderators, just them. You destabilized society, he said. I revealed who already had, she countered. You're no hero. You're a virus. I'm the firewall, she said. The debate ended in deadlock, but the people had seen the enemy's face and Elle's resolve. Section 9. Building the Ark. Elle's final plan began under code names, Ark 1. It wasn't a weapon, it was a failsafe. A distributed global vault system containing Dominion's exposed secrets, programmed to self-release if certain conditions were met. Her death, a blackout, or mass data suppression. It's not insurance, she said. It's legacy. Section 10. The Message Before the Storm. On the eve of Dominion's next expected strike, Elle recorded a message. To those watching, doubting, running, know this. Truth is not fragile. It's dangerous, but only to those who bury it. She closed the file, signed it with a single phrase. We are not theirs to govern. Section 1. Global Reverberations. Elle's broadcast did more than wake the country. It sent shockwaves around the world. From Berlin to Buenos Aires, headlines screamed about Project Blackframe. Governments demanded investigations. Allies reached out for intel. Enemies tried to erase their footprints. The order had lost control of the narrative. For the first time, they were the ones running. But Elle knew better. This isn't collapse, she warned. It's retraction. They're pulling back to regroup and to strike cleaner. Section 2. The Exposure Protocol. Elle initiated what she called the Exposure Protocol, a fail-safe campaign designed to eliminate secrecy. Civic Watch compiled everything: emails, financials, property records, surveillance logs, and built an open-source portal anyone could access. We won't be the only ones watching, she said. Now, the world watches with us. Tens of thousands of volunteers joined. Coders, lawyers, journalists, even defectors from order-linked agencies. Section 3. The Blowback. 3 Civic Watch members were doxxed. One was hospitalized. Another vanished. Anonymous threats surged. So did smear campaigns, fake news articles, and synthetic videos accusing Elle of treason, infidelity, and worse. She responded by releasing her full FBI record, redactions removed. I won't play defense with my past, she declared. I weaponize truth. Section 4. The Vaults. Lang resurfaced digitally briefly. A cryptic message across dark web forums. The vaults hold the rest. She knows it. Elle's eyes narrowed. He means the offshore nodes. Years ago, the Order had stored sensitive archives in digital vaults, protected by biometric layers and geopolitical jurisdiction. Elle had tracked them, but never cracked the last wall. Until now. Section 5. The Panama Lock. Elle and her team coordinated with an ethical hacker cell in Central America. Their mission: breach the Panama Vault, the largest node of black-frame data. The operation took 11 hours. At 3:14 a.m., the vault opened. Inside, board minutes, executive orders, political blackmail contracts, psychological warfare plans, voter manipulation algorithms, names on every continent. Section 6. Worldwide reaction. World leaders were forced to respond. In Italy, a parliament collapsed. In Canada, 2 resignations. In Brazil, military intelligence launched an inquiry. The United Nations called an emergency session. Elle refused an invitation to attend. "Let them act on the truth," she said. "I'm not here to be a symbol." Section 7. The Hunt for Spectre. Lang's code name, Spectre Now, carried a bounty. Interpol issued a red notice. But Elle didn't wait. She followed his IP trail to an island in the Aegean Sea, a ghost facility, long decommissioned. With help from her allies, she launched a stealth raid. They didn't find Lang, but they found something worse: a command room still online, coordinating micro-operations across multiple nations. Section 8. The Betrayer Returns. In the middle of a strategy meeting, a familiar voice interrupted their feed. "Director Thorne, I tried to warn you," he said. "About what?" Elle snapped. "You exposed the Order's surface, but below them is the Dominion network. They don't govern, they rewrite reality." Elle's face went cold. "Where are they?" Thorne only smiled. "You'll know them when you realize they're already in control." Section 9. The Trigger List. Buried in the Panama Vault was a file titled Trigger X, a contingency hit list activated when exposure reached critical mass. Elle's name was first, followed by 10 others: whistleblowers, journalists, a senator, a dissident CEO. She moved them all into protected custody, but she knew it was only a matter of time. Section 10. Preparing for the final gambit. Back in the safe house, Elle stood before a black screen with a single blinking cursor. She turned to me. "We found the truth. Now we take away their last weapon. Fear." "What's the plan?" I asked. Her voice was steel. "We go public with Trigger X. We name every name. We give the people the final key." She pressed enter. The screen filled with redacted files. And somewhere, in the darkness, the Dominion network began to stir. Section 1. Dawn Briefing. The safe house sat silent, nestled in the Colorado pines. No signals, no drones. Just the cold breath of morning and the hum of readiness. Elle stood at a whiteboard scrawled with names, code words, and red lines. She looked like a general preparing for siege. No sleep, no time for fear. "We don't react," she said. "We initiate." Civic Watch's new core team was down to 7 former agents, ethical hackers, 1X, senator's aide, all loyal, all chosen. She assigned each of them a directive: surveillance, infiltration, data unmasking. The mission was no longer just exposure. It was dismantlement. Section 2. Operation Burnroot. Their first target was a high-rise in Chicagoan urban development think tank that was secretly laundering funds for the Order's community engineering programs. Elle's hacker Jade cracked their internal network. What they found was chilling: AI-driven social scoring models for neighborhood compliance, predictive behavior tracking, displacement algorithms. "They're testing this stuff on real families," Jade whispered. Elle nodded. "Then we shut them down." Within 48 hours, Civic Watch released the documents publicly. Names, data flows, covert funding chains. The backlash was instant. Congress demanded accountability. 2 resignations. A public investigation. But that was just the first domino. Section 3. The oil field deal. A tip led Elle to a closed-door deal in West Texas. An order front was seizing water rights under the guise of HOA expansion. Entire rural communities would be forced out. Elle and I went undercover posing as consultants. She walked into the negotiation with quiet steel. The executives didn't know her, but their security chief did. He went pale. The deal collapsed before the handshake. Section 4. Internal fire. The order fought back. A Civic Watch analyst was poisoned. Elle's father retired, living in Arizonawas, nearly killed in a staged home robbery. That night, I found her by the window, eyes like stone. They want me to stop. They're scared, I said. No, she said. They're waking up. That's more dangerous. Section 5. The firewall breach. One of their sleeper agents breached the Safe House network. They didn't steal data. They left a message. You can't save a system already bought. Elle responded by launching a 0-day virus into one of the order's main data centers. No warning, just erasure. It was war now, fully declared. Section 6. The rise of Spectre. An anonymous figure emerged from the void. Codename, Spectre. They hijacked a global broadcast and framed Elle as a cyber terrorist, accused Civic Watch of false flagging communities, controlling media narratives, and working with foreign powers. The public wavered. Elle stayed quiet. Then she traced the Spectre's signal to Lang's old server. He's not dead, she said. He's just hiding behind code. Section 7. No sanctuary. They moved again, this time to the California coast, a safe house built inside an abandoned water treatment plant. Every team member was pushed to their limit. No contact with families. Constant rotation. One lived in a shipping container to avoid tracking. Elle trained nightly. Combat. Data discipline. She was becoming more than a whistleblower. She was becoming insurgent. Section 8. The congressional turn. Then, something unexpected. A junior congresswoman reached out. Latina. Former housing rights attorney. She offered her platform. I believe you, she told Elle on a secure line. And I want to bring the full story to the floor. Elle agreed. On one condition, total transparency. Section 9. Operation Severance. Civic Watch's next move was surgical. They identified 27 shell companies funding order operations. Using a cascade of coordinated legal complaints, whistleblower leaks, and forensic audits, they froze assets across 4 countries in one day. The order lost $190 million overnight. Spectre went silent. Section 10. The broadcast. Elle went public. From a secure location, she released a 20-minute address to the nation. She exposed everything. Project Blackframe, the order's goals, the war already unfolding beneath the surface. No one elected them, she said. But they decided who you could be, where you could live, and what you were worth. She ended with a challenge. If they want a war for our future, let it begin in the daylight. The world reacted, and in the quiet that followed, Elle turned to me. It started, she said. And we both knew there was no going back. Elle's face hardened. They're reminding me they're watching. She sent the footage to 5 journalists with the subject line, I have nothing to hide. Do they? Section 8. The hearings begin. In D.C., a bipartisan committee opened hearings. Elle was invited to testify. In front of millions, she told her story. About Karen. About Lang. About the order. They weaponize silence, she said. They bank on fear, but they've never faced someone willing to lose everything. The room fell silent. Section 9. The fracture in the order. A surprise witness came forward, Thorne's own aide. He confirmed everything. The network, the funding, the goals. Thorne resigned within 24 hours. Protests erupted. Several members of Congress demanded a special prosecutor. I think we just cracked it, I whispered. Elle didn't smile. Cracks don't stop floods. They just show you where the dam is weakest. Section 10. Preparing for the next wave. That night, under a sky lit by fireflies, we sat on the dock again. Not in peace, but in purpose. This isn't over, I said. Elle nodded. Number. But now, the country's listening. She held my hand, eyes fixed on the horizon. The deeper the corruption, she said, the louder the echo when you shatter it. Section 1. Calm before the surge. In the days after the hearings, the calm was unnerving. No press vans, no angry emails, no new subpoenas. Elle didn't trust it. They're watching, she said, waiting for me to blink. So she didn't. Instead, she doubled down late nights at her desk, encrypted calls, maps and names and dates, scribbled on glass panels like a war room. We cracked the order, I said one night. Isn't that the win? It was a doorway, she replied. We haven't stepped through it yet. Section 2. Red alerts. It started small. An out-of-state Civic Watch chapter was burned down. Then a judge overseeing an order-related case was doxxed. Then Elle's FBI file leaked, online, altered, and filled with false allegations. She didn't react. Not publicly. But I saw her hands tremble when she held her coffee. Section 3. The betrayal. One of our trusted contacts vanished. Another turned out to be feeding information back to what Elle now called the second ring. They were ready for us, she whispered. There's a deeper structure and we never mapped. She traced accounts, shell LLCs, cross-border transactions. Then she stopped, silent. What is it? I asked. Her voice was thin. I found something, but if I touch it, they'll come for us hard. Section 4. Night siege. It happened at 2:12 a.m. The security grid went down. Motion lights flared around the perimeter. 3 black SUVs breached the lower fence. Armed men poured out silent, fast, disciplined. Elle had prepped for this. She activated the fallback, protocol sealed the hard drives, uploaded emergency data to secure cloud vaults, triggered distress beacons to her trusted former field team. We retreated to the panic room beneath the barn. They won't take us alive, she said. I looked into her eyes and believed it. Section 5. Extraction. The siege lasted 13 minutes. Then, a roar from the East 2 helicopters descended. Elle's people, ex-agents, old debts being paid. The attackers scattered. 2 were captured. 1 was shot. The others vanished into the forest. Elle emerged from the bunker like a ghost, calm, dead-eyed. This was a warning, she said. Not to stop me, but to stop others from following. Section 6. Backlash. National news caught wind. The footage leaked. A wave of sympathy crashed across the country. Elle became a reluctant icon. People painted murals. Veterans called her a hero. Moms named their daughters after her. She ignored it all. It's not about me, she said. It's about what they're hiding. Section 7. Code Black. The FBI launched a full investigation. Civic Watch HQ was declared a protected federal witness facility. But Elle kept digging. She found references to an internal order program, Project Blackframe. No data, no witnesses, just the name and a trail of erased records. Whatever it was, it scared even Thorne. Section 8. The Deal. An emissary came. Suit, accent, unmarked car. He offered Elle $50 million to walk away quietly. She laughed. I'm already rich, in enemies. He left a card, blank, embedded with a chip. Elle crushed it under her boot. Section 9. The last safe house. We moved again deep into the mountains. The safe house was old school. No internet, no grid. She brought only one thing with her, a folder labeled Black Frame. Inside was the list, a final list, of names, dates, locations, targets. Section 10. The War Ahead. That night, by a tiny fire in the woods, Elle said, "This isn't survival anymore. It's a campaign." She turned to me. "We don't run. We don't hide. We strike first." Elle's contacts confirmed it. Lang had private security teams, cyber units, former intelligence contractors. "He's not running an HOA," Elle said grimly. "He's building a shadow empire." Section 6. The Leak. One of Lang's own reached out anonymously. A whistleblower. Through a scrambled video call, she laid it bare. Lang was preparing to buy out 3 nearby HOAs, funneling influence through shell packs. His plan wasn't just local. "He's going national," the woman said. "You expose Karen, so now he's making an example out of you." Elle's jaw tightened. "Then let him come." Section 7. The Trap. Elle set up a bait operation of fake land trusts supposedly for sale adjacent to our property. Lang bit. He sent a proxy to make an offer. Elle recorded everything: wire fraud, bribery, threats. The footage was enough to trigger federal attention again. Section 8. The Raid. At dawn, black SUVs rolled through Timber Falls. This time, they weren't ours. They were from D.C. Lang's hotel suite was cleared, his men arrested, his servers seized. He smiled as they cuffed him. "This isn't over, Elle." "It never is," she replied. Section 9. Reflection. That night, I found Elle by the lake again. She looked older, more weathered. "Do you regret coming here?" I asked. She shook her head. "Number peace isn't where you hide. It's where you fight to keep others safe." I nodded. "And if more come?" She squeezed my hand. "Then I'll be ready." Section 10. The Deeper Game. In the coming days, word came from Washington. Lang's arrest had triggered whispers of a larger investigation: deep political money, federal lobbying, a movement to privatize and weaponize community governance. Elle opened a new folder in her system. Operation Marrow. Because Timber Falls, it turned out, was just the surface. And the waters beneath? Still stirring. Section 1. Congressional Whispers. The raid on Vincent Lang's network had the impact of a thunderclap. Within days, Elle was fielding calls from journalists, attorneys, and even Senate aides. Washington was listening. What started as a neighborhood squabble had turned into a national security inquiry. Lang wasn't just playing local politics, Elle said, flipping through sealed briefings from D.C. He was testing models ways to control votes, regulate speech, restrict mobility, all under the disguise of property rules. I blinked. So HOA tyranny was just the beta test? She nodded grimly. And he wasn't the only one running it. Section 2. The Ghost Committee. Elle's research uncovered a hidden committee registered as a nonprofit, but secretly funneling dark money into suburban councils across 6 states. They called themselves the Order of Civic Integrity. "It sounds patriotic," I said. "It's a shell," Elle replied. "They sell control and call it security." Names began to surface. A former DHS advisor, a media mogul, a senator's brother, all interconnected. Section 3. Meeting in the Capitol. Elle flew to Washington under a false name. Her contact was an old DOJ friend named Rourke. He met her in a parking garage beneath the Capitol. "You stirred up a hornet's nest," he said. "They're scared." "Good," Elle replied. Rourke handed her a secure file. "They've used HOA influence to sway elections, suppress community protests, and reroute federal grants. It's deeper than we thought." Elle opened the file. Inside was a name she hadn't seen in 15 years. Section 4. The Mentor. His name was Director Thornia, retired spy master who once mentored Elle at the Bureau. "I thought he disappeared," she muttered. "He didn't disappear," Rourke said. "He changed uniforms. Thorne was on the advisory board of the order. And worse, he was helping export the model to international allies. He taught me how to spot tyranny," Elle said. "Now he's selling it." Section 5. Building the firewall. Back at the ranch, Elle and I fortified our systems. Civic Watch tripled its volunteers. A legal team assembled overnight. Elle created a firewall of whistleblowers, activists, and former agents, all under one mission: expose the order. Every device, every communication now flowed through encrypted nodes. Elle wasn't just defending a lake, Annie Moresh was building a digital fortress. Section 6. The First Strike Back. The order didn't sit idle. 3 local Civic Watch offices were raided under false warrants. Files were stolen. Staff were interrogated. One of our lawyers was framed for tax fraud. Elle released a public video exposing the setup. It went viral. Suddenly, people across the country started talking. Are HOAs part of something bigger? Section 7. The Message. Then came the package. No return address. Just a single flash drive and a note. You're next. Elle played the contents. It was footage grainy, black and white, showing Elle in her early bureau years. A surveillance tape never meant to see daylight. They're trying to shame you, I said.